Penn State has not beaten a top 10 team at home in 9 years. I think they need to win this one now.
I think as Gunnar Stockton goes, Georgia will go this season.
College football week 5 features several ranked matchups, and we're looking at number 6 Oregon at number 2 Penn State. Frank, how does James Franklin get this statement win at home?
Well, I think Penn State has to strike early, energize the whiteout crowd, and really control the tempo on offense with their run game against what may be a little bit of a suspect Oregon run defense so far, and also force quarterback mistakes early.
Alec, on the other side, what would an Oregon win on the road against a top 2 team? What kind of statement would that make for Dan Lanning and the Ducks?
Yeah, I think, with this year's team and 17 new starters, including like 10 on the offensive side, this is a big chance for that young team to prove that, hey, Oregon still deserves to be ranked inside the top 5, still deserves to be considered a national title contender. Dante Moore, with all the ups and downs he went through at UCLA, gets his first chance to go into a big road environment and get a win. So this would be a huge opportunity for a statement for Dan Lanning to suggest that his team is still on the rise and still belongs here at the top, and beat a really good opponent on the road.
We're only in week 5, so looking ahead at the remaining schedules, which team do you think has more pressure on it to win this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's. I think this is a big game for both teams. I think this is clearly the biggest game on Oregon's schedule, at least the first half of the season. It's the only top 10 team currently ranked in the top 10 on their schedule. It's on the road. It's their second Big Ten game, so it's really going to set the stage for the rest of the year, and how they sort of are going to be approaching the rest of these games. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Oregon to win this game, but just looking at Penn State's schedule, I think they probably, this is a game that's needed for them. They got Ohio State down the road. They've got Indiana. They've got they probably got a tougher schedule down the road. So Oregon probably has a chance to let this one slip away and win the rest of their games and still be fine over the rest of the season. But obviously still a huge game for both teams.
I think Penn State definitely has more pressure to win because there's a big game jinx for James Franklin. Penn State has not beaten a top 10 team at home in 9 years. So if they do not do it Saturday night, I'd be concerned about the psychological impact. Can they get themselves back up to play those games, those big games against Ohio State and Indiana? I think they need to win this one now.
Obviously, these aren't the same Penn State and Oregon rosters from last year, but how do you think this game will compare to the 2024 Big Ten championship game when Oregon came out on top?
Well, I think it's going to be, the focuses are going to be similar. Both coaches talk about winning in the trenches. Both have stressed the importance of establishing a run game and then also being able to stop the run. Dan Lanning talked specifically about last season. Oregon gave up almost 300 yards rushing to Penn State. Albeit in a win, but clearly not satisfied. He pulled out the number 297 that Penn State run for exactly last season. So that it's going to be a point of emphasis for Oregon, who can establish the run game and then who can stop the run. So I think the focuses are going to be the same. It's just going to be a little different personnel for Oregon.
I think Penn State will have more confidence this time around against Oregon because they finally have, in a big game, the advantage with, if I dare say so, talent, experience, and depth, finally, under James Franklin. And I think they can use it with their home crowd. So I think that's going to be a big advantage for Penn State compared to the Big Ten title game.
Number 6, Oregon at number 2, Penn State. Who wins and why?
I'm going with Penn State to pull it out 24-17. Type of score. I think they keep Oregon at arm's length. And I'm saying because they have the best unit on the field, and I think it's going to be their defense. And the guy leading their defense, Jim Knowles, he figured out how to shut down Oregon last year in the playoffs. And I think he'll help that defense figure it out again with the whiteout crowd helping.
Yeah, I had Penn State winning this game and entering the season for Oregon, and it's definitely the much safer pick. I see a path to victory for Oregon. I think that this might be, it's one of their younger units, but I actually think it might be one of the more talented and deep teams that Dan Lanning has had, including last season. I think they've started the year on fire and they've dominated teams, and they could easily go into Beaver Stadium and win. But they're untested. They haven't played a true road game this season. They played Northwestern in their soccer facility with about 10,000 people. But this is really going to be their first chance at playing in a venue with over 100,000 people. It's a whiteout game. Penn State certainly has the experience advantage. Some of the best running backs in the country, Drew Aller, and it's kind of Oregon going to be getting their feet wet in here. So it'll be interesting to see how they look in that crowd environment. And I do think Penn State's experience and talent and all that will win out, especially this early in the season with Oregon not having a road game like this yet.
College football week 5, and we've got number 17 Alabama at number 5 Georgia. In his short Alabama tenure, Kalen Debore is 1-0 versus Georgia. Colin, how can he stay undefeated versus the Bulldogs?
I think it's running a similar game plan as they did against Louisiana Monroe and Wisconsin, if possible. And that's efficient offense. That's a defense that can get to the quarterback, that can provide pressure, that can force turnovers. It worked against kind of lesser competition, and it's going to need to work if the Crimson Tide is going to get a win in its first SEC action of the year.
Yeah, if only Louisiana Monroe was going to be in Sanford Stadium, right? I mean, Alabama has to be much, much better at the line of scrimmage against Georgia than they were in the season opener at Florida State. Also, road games have been a struggle for Kalen Debore throughout his brief tenure at Alabama, and we know how tough Georgia has been at home under Kirby Smart. So Alabama has to be good up front, unlike they were in the season opener. And Ty Simpson, he has to play, to Colin's point, like he did in those two games against undercard competition. It was a bit of a struggle for him. Didn't have a lot of help around him either, but it was a struggle for him at Florida State. Has to be better in this road start.
The last time Georgia beat Alabama was in the 2021-22 national championship game. So, Blake, how do you think the Bulldogs can keep their home winning streak alive this weekend against Alabama?
Well, I mean, I think Gunnar Stockton, if he plays well, if he plays like he did at Tennessee, that's huge. I mean, Gunnar Stockton, people forget, that was his first career road start. He's been around the program for a long time and started some games, but he hadn't started a true road game. Comes out in a tough environment at Neyland Stadium a couple weeks ago and really put the team on his back, where Georgia's defense betrayed him for long stretches of that game, particularly throughout the first half. So I think as Gunnar Stockton goes, Georgia will go this season. We saw that against Tennessee, and I think in this key matchup, Gunnar Stockton has to be good as well. If he does, combine that with the home field advantage that Georgia has maintained throughout the Kirby Smart era, and I think they have the upper hand.
Along those lines, Gunnar Stockton or Ty Simpson, which quarterback is more trustworthy heading into the Alabama-Georgia game?
Yeah, I think Ty Simpson. It's hard to say Ty Simpson, especially as he approaches his first SEC start. But if you look at the Ty Simpson that's been been dominating ULM, Wisconsin, high accuracy, kind of those gimme plays that Alabama talked about, preseason. He looks comfortable. He looks confident in what the scheme that Ryan Grubb has given him, what Kalen Debore has wanted him to do. If that's the Ty Simpson that shows up against Georgia, against probably the best defense that he's faced up to this point, that's going to be a quarterback that, Alabama fans should be excited about heading into this one, no matter if he has experience or not.
Yeah, I think it's Gunnar Stockton. He's been playing excellent this season. To Colin's point, Ty Simpson has looked really good the last couple weeks, but it's going to be a much different test going on the road against Georgia. I mean, as tough as it was in week 1 against Florida State, I think this will be an even bigger test for Ty Simpson. And Gunnar Stockton has proved himself to this point at home, on the road. I really like his dual threat abilities. It's almost a little bit of a throwback to the Stetson Bennett era. at Georgia. Gunnar Stockton gives them that type of wrinkle, a guy that can make plays with his legs. But I mean, he's no slouch as a passer either. I think throughout the preseason, Gunnar Stockton was flying a little bit under the radar a little bit because, he didn't have the hype around him of some of these other Bollywood quarterbacks, the 5 stars around the league. But this was a former blue chip recruit himself who's been in Georgia's program for a long time, played in some key moments last year, helping Georgia pull out that SEC championship win against Texas. Didn't go so well in the playoff loss to Notre Dame. But this guy's been through some battles already. And I think he showed in Neyland Stadium just a couple weeks ago that he's built for the big moments. And so I like Gunnar Stockton.
Number 17, Alabama at number 5, Georgia. Who wins and why?
Yeah, I think what Alabama has in its favor is that Alabama wins in Athens. I mean, it's won 2 straight. It hasn't played a lot in Athens, but the last 2 times that it's been there, the Crimson Tide has come out victorious. Now, that was Nick Saban. That was the Nick Saban era. This is their first time going to Athens with Kalen Debore, and a Kalen Debore team that, struggled mightily on the road dating back to his first year, going back to games against Tennessee, against Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Florida State. All of those games in SEC play, have a similar feeling, from the box. Kind of, it just felt the same. A lot of problems that were similar, a lot of things that, it's the same old for Alabama. And I don't think it's going to be that obvious. I don't think it's going to be a complete, 180 from, the ULM game or the Wisconsin game. I do not think Alabama comes out and wins this game. I think Georgia kind of takes control at home, continues that home win streak, and hands Alabama its first loss in SEC play.
Yeah, think back to that marquee victory for Kalen Debore last season at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It was an electric atmosphere there, and that was sort of an early signature moment for Debore before all the troubles that came the rest of that season. And all those subsequent troubles came either on the road or at neutral sites. And now as you fast forward to today, Kalen Debore is 2-5 in games played away from Bryant-Denny Stadium at Alabama. And you contrast that with how good Georgia has been at home under Kirby Smart. I mean, they have been nearly impossible to beat. Now, Nick Saban could do it. Can Kalen Debore do it on the road? Don't know that yet. Haven't seen that yet. Trust Georgia a lot more. And I think with Alabama, they've been playing better, after that Florida State result. But how good is Wisconsin? How good is ULM? I think the answer is, they were clearly overmatched opponents. So I favored Georgia in this one. I think I may lean the other direction if the location of the game was different. But as electric as that environment was in Tuscaloosa last year, I would expect a very, very similar type of scene for a night game in Athens, and I think that plus Gunnar Stockton's ability that he's shown gives Georgia the edge.